Hey there folks, Pallet here, back with another update on my Minecraft Village project. Welcome back to the channel. I haven't posted for a couple of weeks. I've been traveling a little bit and working on a couple of projects when I have the time. Just wanted to give you a quick update here and show what I've added. Now we're going to come along back here behind the big manor house. Still got some undeveloped land back here. And this is one of the projects that I started. Oh, I probably started this a month or 6 weeks ago. Got it about halfway finished and just kind of got distracted with other things. So I came back this week to finish it. This is my little, let's say my goat herd's home. Got a nice little pen down here for the goats to live in. Of course, goats, with how high they jump, it's kind of tough to keep them corralled anywhere. So I wanted a space that actually had a roof and that could fit a couple of them. I thought that this building plan worked out really well. This is a plan by Gorillo. It's for a starter home idea. One of the things that I have not expanded yet is this space here. This can be used for storage, or you can use it as an entrance to a cellar or maybe a mining area. But overall, I really liked how this started with a stone foundation and then graduated to a wood house on top with plenty of plenty of kind of expansion potential with that ability to build down below with the little kind of ground floor barn almost area that I turned into a small corral here. Now we're going to come back around the back side here just to point out, of course, we've got a little bit of extra storage that's going on. We do have a small garden that I was able to fit in between the two houses here. In the original tutorial video, this was just a little bit bigger. Unfortunately, that would butt it up right against my gardener's house here, so made it just a block or two more narrow, and I think it works for just a tiny little home garden plot. We're going to come upstairs now and take a look inside. First, we've got windows with nice little shutters here, and inside it's a small space, but I think it makes pretty good use of the room. Of course, we've got a bed here, got a couple of counters, and all of the storage goes on shelves up above, as well as a crafting table. Got a couple of bookcases. Right here is the trapdoor that leads down to where the goats live. And then we have our little balcony here that's above the small garden plot. So, not a big house, not terribly complex. It really wasn't a difficult tutorial to follow and to get the resources for, but I thought it was just a nice little home to add to my neighborhood over here. We've got a couple of larger houses, and so now we've just got something a little on the smaller side. Eventually, we'll have a path that'll be coming down through here and connecting all of these up to the main road over here. So we're going to come over to this road, and as always, we started our video in the tree house. The next thing that I've added is back behind the tree house. And you can tell by how often I hit things when I fly that I am a professional at this. So this is a wizard tower that, again, I found a tutorial online for. I really loved the look of it, how it just kind of stands out from the rest of what I'm doing. We've got a lot of sandstone, we've got a lot of spruce and dark oak over here, and this was just something a little bit different. It makes it look almost just a little out of place, a little intimidating maybe compared to the rest of the village. And so I surrounded it with a nice big hedge maze. Now, the hedge maze was a project of its just on its own. It took me a little while to get that all planned out and then to harvest everything that I needed for it. And I can show you real quick before we actually get to looking through here. This was a small project that I made over here in kind of my farming area. It is a moss farm. So we've got a, what is it, a 7 by 5 area of moss blocks in here surrounded by copper because the copper blocks won't get changed into moss when we bone meal this. So normally what I do is I stand up above here. I will bone meal the middle block, and when I hit this button, we get water. We hit it again, we bring the water back in. It's just a dispenser with a bucket of water in it. And that harvests everything that grows in there. That's all the grass seeds, all of the moss carpets, all of the azaleas. And then through the hoppers, it drops it all in here. So I've got plenty of azaleas. So the next thing I had to do was take all of those azaleas up. I had a spot on a hill outside of town just because if you're not familiar with it, when you plant an azalea and bone meal it, it turns the dirt underneath it into rooted dirt. And rooted dirt is great. I love being able to use it, especially like in some of the rooted dirt and coarse dirt in some of the texturing for paths. But I just wanted to kind of keep it controlled and outside of my main village area. So I was doing that outside and harvesting all of the leaves that I could get off of that. I don't know if this has been since my last video or not. I have completed the main roadway of the bridge here. I still have to complete the lower section of arches and get those all switched over to the correct type of blocks. But this here was just the plot that I used for growing my azaleas. So planting azaleas here, bone mealing them until they grew, and then harvesting all of the leaves. And of course you get a lot more just kind of plain azalea leaves than you get flowered azalea leaves. And in fact, I don't think I've got any flowering ones here at the moment. All of these are just the plain ones. Uh, and that took quite some time. That was a lot of just watching YouTube while I plant and harvest and plant and harvest over and over and over again until I got enough leaves. So now we're going to come over here and we're going to take a look at a bit of the maze. We're not going to go through the whole thing right now, but notice I've got a couple of azalea trees out here forming the main, kind of the frame to the entrance of the maze. And this is one thing that I have not completed yet, but I want to go around and replace the bottom block all the way around with the azaleas, just to make it look a little bit more natural. If you look over here, you'll see how I started off. It was with dirt, and that's how I laid out the entire maze. I just took a lot of the dirt that I've harvested from different terraforming projects, and I started laying out 1 block high the entire path of the maze. And that way, with it only being 1 block high, it was really easy to jump on top and get a good look at how everything was coming together, where the dead ends would be, where the, maybe the false entrances, that sort of thing. And of course, I have tried to make sure that I have enough lighting in here, just using moss carpets with some glowstone or shroom lights. I think it's shroom lights over here. Now, there are a couple of interesting little additions to the maze and they're both kind of easy to get to. The first one is if we just enter the maze and come over to the left, put a little gazebo in here. Just a nice little place to sit and relax in an evening. It's not tough to get to. It's got some kind of mood lighting going on with the soul lanterns. And this was based off of an idea by Avo Abbey. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong, but that was I found a lot of tutorials for gazebos. I liked this one the best because it allowed me to incorporate the azalea leaf blocks as part of the roof of it. And it just helps it kind of blend in with the entire maze structure. Uh, so I think it's just a nice little relaxing spot. Like I said, you don't have to get lost in the maze to come here. You can just wander over to it. And I made sure and I built a little bit of a pond over here. I haven't added any fish yet, but I will be getting some fish to go in there. So just a nice little place for a picnic or something. We go on back, and back here we do have a little bench and a statue. So we have a place, another place that's easy to get to sit and relax. Now, on the other side of the maze, in fact, we may just fly over there so it'll be faster. You can enter from, you can come in at the entrance and follow to the right, and you'll come here to just this little grove of trees. And I think I'm going to put maybe a small bench back here as well, make it a nice little spot, maybe even a campfire, someplace to just have a point of interest in and among the maze where you again you don't have to solve the entire maze to get there. You can just enter and go straight to it, and well, maybe it's straight to it. There we go. And you see I've still got, an armor stand here. I've got some more statues that I want to put in just for some decoration. But now, just because I don't want to try to solve the maze in front of y'all and embarrass myself by taking wrong turns everywhere, we are going to just fly into the middle here and take a look at this wizard tower. Now let's, jump down here, and we will give credit where it's due. This is from an amazing build by Jackson Wild that did a Minecraft wizard tower. In fact, I believe the same channel has a couple of other variations of wizard towers, but this was the one I liked because of, like I said, the way it kind of contrasts with everything else that we've got going on here in the village. And then I went and got some warped blocks, some of the warped mushroom biome blocks to just to kind of add to the alien feel a little bit here. Now, we come up here, and of course these warped trapdoors were part of the original design. The llama was not. He just kind of happened to be around here, and so I made him the guardian of the tower. Uh, but that's the fact that we already had warped wood items, the trapdoors, the warped wood doors, that sort of thing, that were part of the original tutorial, is why I went with kind of a warped theme around here. I wanted to make this interior just kind of its almost its own little world a little bit, make it feel like you've wandered someplace that doesn't quite fit in. Now, I have not done a lot of interior work in here yet. I have added a few things. For example, there is a cellar down here that is mostly used for storage. I have some ideas of maybe putting like some wardrobes or some armor stands down here as well, but we've got plenty of storage. We've also got a ladder up to the next level, which leads out to the first kind of floating section of tower. See, main tower just keeps going. And in here, I made just a small bedroom. I figured that whoever's living here probably isn't huge on creature comforts, so we've just got a very basic, a bed, a little place for storage, and some candles lit up. Nice prismarine arched roof here, and a lot of the lighting is provided by end rods. Every window has some end rods that are outside and provide nice little bit of lighting for the interior spaces as well without being too bright at night. Then I've added a little bit of a narrow stairwell coming up here. This is the second floating section of tower. You can see there is a spire all the way up on that. And this is our small enchanting area. Not a huge enchanting setup here, not going to be able to get the highest levels on things, but you work with the space that you have, and I thought that came out kind of nicely there. And then we go back in, Notice we've got these huge floor-to-ceiling windows here, so you can kind of see a bit of the countryside a little bit. And I fell down the stairs. Let's go up this ladder now. And this is the top floor with, again, these nice tall windows. And I built a small brewing area here. I actually have plenty of bookshelves. I went and harvested bookshelves from one of the um, uh, underground fortresses. There are a couple of the underground fortresses that I found, and I've got plenty of stacks of these. So I do like being able to just toss them wherever I can. They don't cost me a lot in resources. But we've got just a little brewing area up here right at the very peak of the tower. And you can step out here. This goes all the way around and gives for wonderful view. The height of this almost rivaling the clock tower over in the front section of the village. And we can just barely see the silhouette of that. I don't have the rendering distance up high enough at the moment. But again, you can see the spire of this tower. You can get over here. And of course, you know, a lot of these are gates as well. So if we really wanted to, we could jump out and fly away easily, or just jump if we felt like taking that sort of damage. We will close up doors. We're going to sleep really quickly here so that we aren't tempting fate in the nighttime. And then we'll take a quick look around around the yard surrounding the tower here. So this stairwell, if the llama wasn't here, I mean, we probably could get to it anyway, but you can go down the stairwell on that side as well. We'll come down here. I do have a couple of these warped fungus that are growing here, the large mushrooms. This one kind of came out a little weird, but the size of it actually worked out for me. I may customize it a little bit with some other blocks that I've got, but I really like the shape of this one back here a bit better. This one was just weird enough that I wasn't sure if I liked it or not, and I just kept it the way it was for the time being. Like I said, we may come back in and do a little bit of shaping on that one. Notice the bottoms of these kind of floating sections of towers also come down to a point, and that was something I had to be careful of as I was planning my surroundings here. I didn't want any of these mushrooms kind of conflicting or pushing right up against the towers. Now, of course, the one on this side doesn't come down nearly as close to the ground, but this comes down so that there's only about enough room for you to walk under it. That's about it. But overall, I really liked this build. This build would have been a lot simpler to do in creative mode, just because of so much of this detail work required scaffolding or a dirt framework to build up to get to where I could place it. So some of the builds that I do are really well designed for doing in creative mode. This one, or sorry, in survival mode, this one really needed creative mode to do it easily. It's not that it was impossible, it just took a little bit extra work on my part, and going through a lot of dirt blocks and having to recover a lot of scaffolding after I broke it apart. So other than that, I am really happy with how it turned out. It was a little bit of a challenge to build, but I think it fits really nicely here as just kind of that creepy old ancient building on the edge of town that maybe the kids dare each other to run up to the front door and touch it, sort of thing. And of course, we've got the hedge maze that has been grown up around it just to make it a little more challenging. One thing that I thought about, and I think I chose the better path, was I had considered placing some sweetberry bushes throughout the hedge maze, and possibly even making parts of the hedge maze out of sweetberry bushes. I thought that might just raise the difficulty a little too much. If you're constantly getting hit and slowed down as you're trying to make your way through the maze, especially with having to turn around and, once you hit a dead end, find the right way. I just thought that I'm gonna try to keep the frustration to a minimum for anybody that goes through that. But uh, yeah, like I said, I think the maze has came out really well. It is not a super challenging maze. It's what, one, two, three, four, yeah, about 5 or 6 pathways deep. Uh, there aren't a lot of ways that you can go wrong when you're going through it, but it's enough that it gives you a little bit of a challenge. And honestly, if I didn't have my Elytra, uh, it would have been a lot tougher to build it just because I would have had a tough time keeping my orientation as I was, making all of the bends and the turns once I started raising the leaf walls up. But that is the update on the village. There have been a few other small things, like I've expanded the road out here a little bit. The road now comes up right about this far. It's not a huge expansion, but we are going to get that road to connect up with the bridge. We're going to finish with the bridge construction here. This is another one. This was a project that I kind of developed on my own without following a tutorial. Um, the the issue is that since I laid it all out in cobblestone, now when I replace these with actual stones of different types for the texturing, similar problem to the Wizard's Tower is that I need to have some sort of dirt framework or scaffolding set up in order to be able to reach all of that. So it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, but I've got all the brick ready to go. I just need to, buckle down and actually get it done. And at some point recently, little boat that I had left down here captured a drowned. And so I just leave him in the shade. Oh, you might have been able to hear him gurgle at us there. I have to leave him in the shade under here, or he will start burning up in the daylight. I do have, again, I do have a couple of other things that I've been working on. Nothing that's really a huge addition, but I've added a little dock right here in front of the windmill so that eventually we'll have a gate. We'll have gates in most of the walls that go over water. So we'll have a gate here. We'll have a gate over there on the other side of the panda enclosure. And we'll have some gates over by the manor house. So we need plenty of places for boats to tie up when they come in. I haven't really made anything too fancy here. Just a really basic using logs for the the pierings, and using some slabs for the actual surface so that it kind of gradually comes up onto the land here. Nothing fancy, but I may take a look at a few ideas online and see if there's just a little bit more customization I can do for that. But anyways, that is the update that I have on the village for this video. I hope you all enjoy seeing what I've been working on and how I'm fitting it all together. If you have any questions or comments, please drop a line down below. I'd love to hear from you and love to see what you think of the village as it's going. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. I'd love it if you like and subscribe, but I just hope that that this gives you maybe some ideas of what you can do with your own village. And I really enjoy just getting in here and working and seeing how the village kind of grows as I go. So thanks a lot for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.